Hello and welcome to Jrock's Babylon. I am your host, Jason Jrock Houston, and we have two members of the band, Dystopica. Now, Becky, correct me if I'm saying the name right.
Yes, you did.
Okay, because I was pronouncing it Dystopica, and you corrected me before we came on the air. So,
Yep.
why don't you share it with us, Becky? That's a great place to start. But the name, the story behind the band's name, which I think is really kind of unique and fun.
Yeah, so I mean, the band name, I wanted something along the lines of dystopia and dystopia. Actually, as I was actually saying prior to this interview starting, back in 2016, with the Megadeth album Dystopia, I remember when that came out, I didn't have my own original band at the time, and I was like, when I do my own music, I want a band name with Dystopia or something along the lines of that. So I held on to that, and I was thinking of different names. Dystopia was taken, Dystopian Society. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want just another dystopian something. So I wanted to like something that was unique and in its own thing because our music is unique and it's its own thing. So I
Yeah,
just came
yeah.
up with the word Dystopica.
And Christian, you're
I
the
like it.
drummer. So, at what point did you come into the picture?
So I joined up about I would believe it was June of last year. My first show with the band was Capulet Fest, actually, with the Seether was headlining that. That was a good one.
Well,
So
Skillet, but close to
Skillet,
yeah,
Skillet.
sick.
My apologies. Jeez. Uh, my memory is all fuzzy over the years. We've been doing so many great things with the band, and we've been just having a blast since then.
So, I
Actually,
understand,
funny
Becky.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, Becky, you'd written a lot of the songs before you even had the band together, right? So, talk a little bit about the writing those songs and how different the songs changed once you got the band in place.
Yeah, well, originally, writing these songs, I just had like ideas in my head, and I just was like back in like very early days. I was just me, just getting my ideas out, writing it in sheet music, and when the band actually plays it, the song really comes to life, and it's a whole like in my head, I know what I want, but it's just like when I finally hear it all together, and everyone brings their own talent to the table, it's just like it really the song evolves and becomes what it's meant to be. Um, yeah, a funny story though, actually, about the song "The Darkness and the Light," on this new EP, Semblance of Order. I actually that was a song that I originally wrote back in like 2020ish, like years ago, and I just had it like saved, and I just didn't know what to do with it, and I just figured I'd throw it on this EP. So a lot of times, like I'll have different song ideas, and I just save them. I still have a lot saved, and then I just pick and choose where I want to put them.
Well, yeah, one of my all-time favorite bands is Kiss, and they've been around like 50 years. They just recently retired a couple years ago, but they always talk about this huge vault of unreleased songs they have. You can imagine after 50
Oh
years.
yeah. Wow, yeah. After 50 years, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
imagine.
Now, let me ask you that song. Did it change much from the way you originally wrote it to what it became now? Because I was sharing
Yeah.
with you before we went on air that that's actually my favorite song off the new EP for the simple fact that it's all over the place. It's beautiful, melodic. It's heavy. It's not like it doesn't hit you over the head like a sledgehammer, but it's got its heavy parts. I just love that about the song.
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot. Originally, well, some of it did. When I originally wrote it, it was just for like me to play and sing on keyboard. I remember like when I was back in like doing my undergrad at WestCon, I was actually in a practice room there when I wrote this song, and I was just playing around with the keyboard, like just coming up with stuff. And I that was when I originally wrote it, the melody and then the keyboard part. And I just had it saved, and I just decided, you know what, like I want to turn this into a song for the band. And then I just added like the guitars and everything, and added lyrics to it. But yeah, I mean, the foundation is still there. Like I'm playing keyboard on the recording. That was like originally there in the original composition of it, as well as the vocal melody. I did add like a lot of harmonies that weren't originally there and stuff, as the process went on, and I like made it more dramatic than it originally was.
Glad you brought up the fact that that song features keyboards because you hear people typically a lot of times will say, "Oh, keyboards suck in rock music," but again, I think it's definitely got its place. I mean, you look at anything like great classic bands like Deep Purple did back in the day, and you tell me those
Yes.
keyboards suck, but there's definitely a place for I
There's
think
definitely a
keyboards.
place. Yeah, and that's something we don't do all the time,
Yeah,
but sometimes the songs need it, like if I feel it, like if I'm writing, like if I'm hearing the keyboard part, or if it's like this one, like I originally wrote it for me to play and sing like on keyboard, like why
yeah.
take it out?
It definitely gives it an extra layer. Now, you mentioned you also play the guitar. Do you play guitar on the album, or
No,
just
I said keyboard. I don't. Well, okay. I write the guitar riffs, but I can like sort of like I know like I understand how to play, but I can't play. If it
I
makes
get you.
sense.
I get
I'm
you.
bad. I'm really bad. So actually, when I write the parts, I actually will plunk them out on keyboard and then write them in tab versus like actually playing them because I cannot play the tab that I give to Rob to play.
You also
I'm
have a
just
little
like
bit of an
you.
under.
This is you for you to do.
Yeah, yeah. And so let me ask you, with that being said, when Rob comes in and creates those magical riffs we hear on the EP, I mean, the fact that you can kind of riff around, but not really to his
Yeah,
level.
well, no, I'll write the riffs. Like, I
Yeah,
write all the riffs.
yeah.
I write them, like, I play the notes on keyboard, and then
Uh,
I'll write them in sheet music. I just struggle myself to play what I write.
so I guess what I'm asking is
So
when he,
I'll write it really
yeah,
difficult and just like that's for him to do. And
that's what I was getting ready to
sometimes,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I am not like a guitarist myself,
Uh,
uh, sometimes I'll send over the tab and it'll be like the fingering will be weird. So he's like, it'd be better to play like this note on this string. You know what I mean? Like, because you can
well,
play the same note on a different string.
yeah.
And sometimes I write the fingering all over the place. So he's like,
Okay, and
you
now
gotta
Christian,
rewrite
you're
this.
Christian's a drummer, and as many people may not know, Christian, when you go into record, typically the drums are the first thing that is recorded. So talk a little bit about what that process was like for you on this EP, and when you started creating those drum fills.
All right, so where to start? So Becky gives me the forms, like she was saying. She writes out the all the piano parts, all the guitar parts are tabbed out. So we go through a program called MuseScore where I can listen to it and get a general idea of what the piece is going to sound like. It's all in the best way I describe it is 8-bit video game knowledge because it sounds very video game out of the computer, and then we as a band, all the members come in and we really make it come to life.
Yeah,
Uh, Becky will give me pretty much either 4 on the floor for people who don't know, just a straight kick drum in the track, so I can have a feel whether it's full time, half time, cut time, stuff like that. Um, but other than that, when I go into the studio, I take the songs, I listen to them a bunch, I think of parts, and then I'll play the parts in the basement. I'll record it, send it over to Becky, get some approvals, what she wants, and we talk back and forth. And it's like, I like this, I don't love that. We change things. We're just trying to make a collaborative effort to make the best songs possible. And then
yeah.
going into the studio, sometimes I'll have Rob do scratch guitar tracks, or I'll have Becky do scratch vocals. If you notice in the album, a lot of the times I'll play cymbal crashes and different fills based on how the vocals are being delivered.
Okay.
I like to play off the other people in the room and in the band, uh, taking from the best, like Ringo Starr, who was the best song drummer of all time.
There you go. Yeah.
Song,
You don't get. Yeah. I mean, you can't get much better than the Beatles, and even the Beatles made an attempt to go metal. If I don't know how many people are aware of it, the song "Helter Skelter." That's not actually a Motley Crue song. That's a Beatles tune.
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, Christian, I got to ask about the nickname. How did you, Christian Ham? Was that something you gave yourself? Somebody else give it to you?
So I was gifted the nickname Ham in high school. This is a good story. I was a big stage crew guy. I did lights, I did sound, I built sets. That was my whole thing throughout high school. And in my freshman year of high school, I was in stage crew, and I was Christian. There was 3 other Christians. There was a Christopher and a Chris.
Yeah.
And basically the seniors came together and said, "We like you. You're going to be here for a while. You need a nickname, bud." So it came down to Hamilton, Slappy, or Ham. and I decided to choose Ham because it was the easiest to remember.
Wow, wow. And what's cool about that is it's always cool, I think, when somebody else gives you a nickname, and it sticks for whatever reason. Yeah.
Fully agree. And I've lived into it at this point.
Uh,
Being Ham has turned into a lifestyle for me where it's going out on stage and being that, going not to curse, but hard as a mother,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And another song I got to ask you guys about that I really love is Soul Suppression. Because as I was telling Becky, tell me if this was your impression when you met her in the band for the first time. Like, she's got the face of an angel, but like a song like this, and it's like she just does that growling thing with her voice. It's like, wow, I can't believe, it's like Ronnie James Dio coming out of her.
Yeah, it is. So
Yeah.
actually, funny story how I met Becky. I was doing sound for a show at Toad's Place upstairs in the lily pad. And my band was playing later in the night. Dystopica was opening up the show. And I met the band. And from that first night, the song Can't Look Away This Time was stuck in my head. I looked it up. I went home, learned it. I've been playing it since in rehearsals personally just to play it. And that song stuck with me. And then I always knew if the opportunity came along that this was a band that I would love to be in.
Yeah, yeah. And now, so Becky, let's talk about the song Soul Suppression, because I mean, what did you do to get that voice to come out of you, that growl? It's very,
Yeah.
it's
I've
unforgettable.
been working it. I mean, I started with the like pitch distortion, like the raspy singing, which I've done with all our EPs, and then from there it went like I added the high screams, and then from there I was playing around with like the low end, and then the growls just came out one day, and
Yeah.
I've just been going with it since. Yeah, and I feel like I've been like just like finding ways to like just evolve it, so I feel like with that song it really like it's definitely brutal.
It comes out, yeah, brutal. That's the word. Brutal metal. I think you've got
Yeah,
something new
I
there.
love doing that, and it's so like honestly it's so effortless
Yeah, yeah.
actually, and it's actually easy for me to do that than like some of our other stuff is like more like belty, like really high, like and that's like more technical, and I love it, but it's like harder. But this, I mean, I
Yeah.
love doing both,
So
I love
like,
just the growls, I love doing
yeah,
the classical, I love doing the belty, like
yeah.
gritty singing, and I try my best
So
to
like, how about
incorporate
like
everything in
when you
one.
when you perform like the darkness and the light, because again, it's kind of very schizophrenic. It's heavy. It's melodic. It's a little bit of everything. Do you have to work as hard to do that?
That one we haven't done live yet. We we did from the new EP Soul Suppression live, which I love. I love doing that live. I love doing the heavy ones live. The energy is definitely
The crowd just feeds off you, I bet, right?
yeah. We do that. We did like Machine, Assemble to Order, which is probably the hardest one for me to sing on this new EP. But I love it. I love doing the hard ones live. I don't know if I'm just crazy but I think the energy of it, like that, our Feel Burning cover, is so fun. I just love it so much. And then This Curse we do live, and I warm up my voice before every gig and before every time we rehearse, and all that. And I always do, like, because I started classically trained. I am a classical vocalist as well. I started with that, so I do my warm ups, like I incorporate my classical warm ups. I always do those first. And then I'll do something for like belting, and then I'll just do like something to like get the false chord like engaged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I just warm up my whole range, and always do like make sure I do one note higher than my highest note and one note lower than my lowest note.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're coming off the stage, like at the end of a show, at the end of the night, does it take like is your voice really kind of sore? Does it take you?
No.
Wow.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I never want to feel any of that when I come off stage.
Well, thank
I will
God you
say
don't.
though, as a singer, I do have to be very careful about talking a lot after I come off stage while other band or in general, just when other bands are playing, or if there's loud music or a lot of noise, because talking over that can be like can tire your voice out, and like there's been like times in the past where like we did a show, and then like afterwards I'll be talking all night to people, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I just have to be careful of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
besides
Yeah.
that, I'm like, yeah.
Wow. Wow. And how about you, Christian? Talk about playing live, for you, like, because, you're in the back of a stage. And so, typically a drummer does one of two things. They either kind of just keep the beat or they're real flashy and a real showman. How would you describe your style of playing?
I am a full-on showman. My whole thing is to entertain the crowd and have a good time while also fulfilling my job to the band and the rest of the bandmates by keeping the time. That's the main job. Keep the time, then do all the flashy things when you can keep the time on top of that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely points in the set where I pull back on the flashy things so I can withstand the energy to get through. And that's definitely something I've learned over time. Uh, Not to gas out too early during a show.
Sure, sure, yeah. I interviewed Carmine a piece a couple times, legendary drummer, of course, and I'll never forget what he told me once. He was saying, he goes, yeah, the drummer is the guy in the back of the stage. He goes, you know what? He says, but he goes, I play like I'm in the front of a stage because I want the people in the audience to notice me just as much as the other guys in the band.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to make the movements big too. That's the big thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so let me ask you, as far as your drumming heroes growing up, who'd some of those guys be?
All right, my top one is always my dad. My dad was a drummer, a professional drummer all the way through the '80s. Played with the Good Rats and Teaser and Brittany Fox. Played with them as well. But he used to do all that. He's taught me everything I know, and then I went beyond and above that. Obviously, the other big showmans like Tommy Lee, he's a big one. Joey Jordison, I did a lot of Slipknot in my formative years during middle school and high school. Got my double bass to where it is to do songs like Machine and Soul Suppression and stuff like that.
Wow. And so let me ask you, Christian, as far as drumming, how old were you when you knew you wanted to be a drummer? And, talk a little bit about that.
So I've had sticks in my hands since the first thing I could hold, basically. I have baby pictures with drumsticks in my hands. I grew up playing drums. It's always been my escape. It's the place where I can turn my brain off and just do what I do best. So,
and you hear a lot of drummers talk about, they tell that classic story about it's a great way to get aggression out. Can you relate to that?
Absolutely. Drumming is my therapy. I never need therapy. Most of the time, people know me as the happy, funny guy because I'm always hitting drums.
Yeah. And so, Becky, you were sharing a little earlier that, like a lot of people, when you start doing music, you were doing covers, and that's the typical route, that most people go. So, what was the point, in your life when you decided, okay, you know what, I'm having fun doing this, but I want to write my own music?
I always had that. Like, I always want. Like, there was something I always wanted, but the real turning point, for when I just had to start was actually, I went to a Disturbed concert in 2019, and David Draymond called me on stage to sing, and I sang. I was in like a band that we covered like a lot of Rush, so I sang Working Man. I'm probably the only person that sang Working Man or Rush with Disturbed, but I did that, and it was really like. It was just like being on stage like that with them, and just that moment really just told me like this is what I want to do. So I'm just
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
I mean,
So I'm very thankful for them for that opportunity.
Were you just a fan that he picked out of the crowd, or did you know him?
I did a meet and greet prior, me and my friend, and it was actually her first concert. So, and that being her the first concert, and she went on stage too. It's like you're not gonna get better than that. But yeah, we did the meet and greet, and I told him in the meet and greet how I sing and stuff, and then I ended up in the show like at the railing. So he just like at the end of the show like calls us up and then has me sing something in a cappella.
I gotta ask, is there any footage of that?
Oh
On
yeah,
YouTube?
yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
We gotta look that up.
There's a
Now,
video I posted and then someone else posted on YouTube. It's up there. Yeah.
wow, that's what a great kind of origin story. And I don't know if you even made this connection, but hearing you tell that story, I'm like, Dystopica, Disturbed, the first concert she saw, she gets called up on stage. Wow, there's a connection.
Yeah.
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 Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, so I have to ask you, Becky, who are some of your heroes? I mean, as far as singers growing up, who you'd say influenced you?
Bruce Dickinson, Rob Halford, Pat Benatar. Those are my top three. That's why we actually like. I mean, I'm very inspired by Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. We did the covers and stuff. I love them. I love their voices. I just saw Judas Priest again for the fourth time on Tuesday, and Rob Halford, his voice is still amazing at his age. He's like
Oh yeah.
screaming and singing like I just
I
so great.
gotta ask, is that the
Yeah.
tour they're doing with Alice Cooper?
Yes. Yes.
Another amazing guy. I
Yeah.
seen Alice, and I seen both those bands, but Rob and Alice. I mean, I don't know what they do to keep their voice in state. They're like in their
They're still doing it. They're still doing great. So it's
yeah,
such a
yeah.
great show.
And Alice Cooper. I mean, they both bands, but Alice specifically, I can say because I've seen him recently. Man, still at his age, put on the ultimate shock rock show. Whatever you want to
Yes.
call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep. Still at his. Yep. They're so good. So yeah, those are my top three. And then like, there's like when it comes to growling and stuff, like Tatiana of Ginger is an inspiration of mine, and I have other vocalists like that I like as well. But I'd say my top three are definitely Pat Benatar, Bruce
yeah,
Dickinson,
yeah.
Rob
And
Halford. That classical into
yeah.
heavy metal, like, and Pat Benatar, I feel she's very underrated in some ways. Like I feel like as a vocal, like people don't. I don't know, like they think "Hit Me with Your Best Shot," but her best stuff, like that song, is nowhere near her best stuff. And she actually started classical as well, and I looked up to her my whole life. So,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I can tell you a reason for that. I mean, she had her big her heyday, so to speak, in the 80s. That's when she really broke out, back then in a huge way. So that's why a lot of people back then they remember her from back then. I mean, she's been doing almost probably 40, 50 years now. So
yeah,
she is one of the, as they say, survivors. But it's interesting because Pat Benatar, along with Hart, Lita Ford, Doro Pesch, they were kind of the originators
yeah,
of that hard rock sound. And
yes,
there's a lot more female vocalists, around today. But interestingly enough, you mentioned Pat Benatar, but it's kind of interesting when you were maybe growing up, there weren't as many. So how did it feel to you to know that you kind of inspire up and coming, female artists?
it feels great. I mean, I really hope to inspire other female artists the way that these artists like Pat Benatar and Doro inspired me.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like you bring up Halford and Dickinson, who are great legendary metal vocalists, and you kind of got that same range to your voice. And
Thank you.
it's interesting that, but again, I don't think really, you probably get that a lot about being a female fronted band, but I think, hey, if you can, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, if you got the talent, go with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, talk about some of the other guys in the band and how you found them.
So after me, the next one to join the band would be Rob, which he joined in 2020. We met at WestCon. We were both going to school there. And he's been in the band since. And then he's awesome. Like I said, he's like besides me, he's like the oldest member. And well, he actually is the oldest member in the band, but he's the longest
Member of the band.
band member. Yeah. And then when we started playing live after our second EP, because of COVID, we weren't really playing live. We had to, because at the time it was just me, Rob, and then our previous drummer. So, but we didn't have like a bassist, we didn't have a second guitarist, and live we have the two guitar parts. Rob can't play both live. So we met other members, and that's when we met Lucas, our bassist, and he's been in the band since. And then years later, we met Christian.
Oh, and so Christian, I was curious, had you got a chance to see the band with the other drummer before you actually became a drummer yourself?
Yes, yeah. So I saw them at Toast Place in the Lily Pad. They mixed the band, and I thought the band was great. I was really impressed based on the show, and then I did my little internet dive on the band after the show, of course, and
Yeah.
I saw the band previously, and then later on, Becky had reached out to me. They were having a vacancy in the drummer spot, and I was open ears to give it a shot, and here we are.
And let me ask you, like, on the songs off of the first EP that obviously the other drummer played on, you play them pretty much note for note the way he did them, or you try to put your kind of spin on them?
So I like to respect the original forms of the song, obviously, and for some of the fills, I take liberties because it's live, and I think I like to hope that I'm developing my own sound and that I can put my own twist on certain things.
Oh, sure. And so I guess a good place to end the interview tonight would be, I understand you guys coming up, obviously at the end of the month, have a big Halloween bash that you're going to be playing. You want to talk at all about that?
Yeah, so we're playing this Halloween Bash. It's gonna be our first show in Maryland on October 25th, and we're excited. It's a costume. It does like a costume contest and stuff, and we will be playing costume, which we haven't done like an actual show in costume, which will be fun. So
And
I'm excited. I'm excited to go to Maryland. So
do you know what you're going to get dressed up as, or are you going to leave that as a surprise?
okay, so I'm gonna be Medusa, and I have a well, yeah, I have a fun little like teaser about that with we're working on another cover song,
Okay.
should I say, but I'm not gonna say who it's by, but I will say it's not a song called Medusa, but the band has another song called Medusa.
Okay. We'll look into that.
Yeah.
That's now before we go. You got to let people know where they can find you on the web and how to get a hold of the album. And is it digital or can they get physical copies as well?
Yep, they can get both. You can find us Dystopica on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that. If you just search our band name, I'm sure you spell it right, you'll find us. We have physical CDs on our Bandcamp, and as well as like T-shirts and our other merch.
Okay.
And we have the digital on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Yeah.
Okay, Christian, you like say anything to the fans before we wrap it up for tonight?
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for having us. I'm so excited to see everybody at a live show. Come say hi. We don't bite. We're all people. We'd love to take pictures and sign anything that you guys want. And yeah, thank you so much.
And Becky and Christian, thanks for coming on the show today. Like I was telling you, it's going to go up later tonight. I'll be sure to send you guys the link. Come back anytime. You're always welcome back here. Okay, we loved having you on the show tonight.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Thank
care.
you for having us.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.